Hello everyone, welcome to the East Stroudsburg University Dynasty in Phelan Division 2, so it's a 2 games per day world, so it'll go by pretty quickly. This is kind of begin the core of what T-Mac and I are trying to do for this YouTube series. We're gonna, even though we're B- prestige, we're gonna, we're building a rebuild into a contender, right? East Stroudsburg, sim coached. I really just picked it because of the location. It's funny that the prestige is decent. But you see, we're losing 5 seniors. There's not too many pieces to be worked with here. So the first thing we're going to be doing when recruiting session 2 starts tomorrow is we're going to clear house. Snyder's gone, Klug is gone, McNally's gone. Brooke is actually decent. He could end up staying. I'm often pretty aggressive rescinding these guys. He's not a bad backup point guard who can actually score a little bit. Look at that low post on the rise and the defense as well and the rebounding. So Brooke could stay. And then Moore is gone, Gross is gone, Truman is gone. And then this guy, Louis Lawrence, sorry, we only lose 4 seniors because this guy I checked is in non-qualifier. So Lawrence will stay. And then the sim luckily signed no players in recruiting session 1. I intentionally, picked a team that the sim didn't sign any players for because it's a whole extra year you have to wait to rescind. So we're returning 2 players for next year at this point. We'll eventually get cash for 10 openings and stuff. And since we are returning 1 senior, Paul Anderson, who will graduate, that means we need to take a combination of 5 walk-ons and 1-year transfers. Since we can take a maximum of 3 walk-ons, it means we need to focus some of our resources on signing 1-year transfers. So we're going to keep a lot of scouting money since usually the most efficient way to find 1-year transfers is just to scout Division 3 and take some really poor players. So of course we can't really expect to contend even for like a PI spot next year because we're, returning 1 guy and then we're going to have to take 5 players who we really should expect to get nothing from. So yeah, I wanted to go through kind of the potential recruits. And again, you can only have 6 openings at once. Your assistant coach will block you from rescinding more players. So we'll open the day tomorrow by rescinding the 2 worst players, least valuable players, who are probably Klug and Snyder, given our 4 openings right now, and we'll get to 6 openings, and we will have 140 attention points. So first target is this guy, Keith Jones, and Keith Jones is really, really good. A solid work ethic. He's going to have the speed, ball handling, passing almost of a 3. He's going to be not a great rebounder, but the cherry on top right is this 13 green low post. And Jones, his situation right now is he's considering a D2 school. So we're going to put a lot of attention points on Jones because he's going to be a huge piece of a possible rebuild, and there's hopefully a 60 to 70% chance we can beat out this sim coach before he signs, get some attention on. Next up is John George, and George is weird player, just terrible stamina, the type of guy I don't like to take. And he's also actually pretty poor defensively. He'll only get up to about 60 defense. But, he's real athleticism, real rebounding, and then, you hope he's going to be a scorer. So all in all, I'm just not too excited about George, but he's a really easy guy to get. So we're going to put some attention points on him, and especially if we can't get Jones, we'll try to take George. In D2, you can get a real set of players in a recruiting session 2 class with what's basically 5 spots we want to take, just because, remember, we're returning that 1 player and then we need 5 more either walk-ons or 1-year transfers. So probably 1 out of Jones and George. And then Hessian is an absolute beast. It's pretty evident why he's so good. In a lot of ways, your goal as a D2 coach in recruiting session 2 is to prevent D3 coaches from signing studs. If you see a guy who's going to be a D3 All-American who's projected D1, you have effectively 6 cycles before they'll sign with Ohio Northern. And Hessian's a guy, he's going to take a little while to unlock with this terrible preference, but Hessian's a guy you want to sign. You're going to be putting a lot of attention points on him. You basically have 140 times 5 attention points to get that ship on. So even if Hessian takes, this dude could take up to, 120 attention points or something ridiculous. We're willing to put that effort in. Then a 4th top target is David Henry. Look at this guy, right? He's pretty unathletic for a D2 big man, but he's going to be an elite kind of rebounding defense guy. And again, I don't think he's good enough for Stroudsburg U to make a play on him. I've been checking out their roster. It's a really, really well-built roster in a good position. They're not desperate enough to sign someone like this like we are. Cabrini will probably get a scholarship on, but hopefully we can take Henry. And Henry's projected D1, but he's unranked, and we have at least decent preferences. Near home is more important than longtime coach, so I feel really good about our chances to land Henry. 5th primary target is this guy, Steve Parrish, another low work ethic guy who's really, really good at his caps. And it looks like right now he's also probably going to go D3 without our intervention. And, he actually has decent preferences. You kind of take all neutrals when you're a new coach at a bad school. So this guy could, be 100 attention points, but we're willing to put that sort of effort in to get Parrish. And hopefully we can beat everyone else to the punch. And, Parrish, Henry, and Hessian, and George, and I think Jones might be a little better work ethic. Yeah, they're all low work ethic though, but they'll start 5 years. That's the great thing about a rebuild. So they'll have really good development. Then Louvier is, a pretty decent player. He's not a very good rebounder, not a very good scorer, only an okay defender. Obviously, a little bit of what you're getting from him is just the stamina and the speed. You feel he could be kind of a versatile 4, but he's considering a D3 school right now, and he's kind of a backup big. I'm really not sure I want to sign this guy. I'm not seeing him being extremely productive, but we'll try. Maybe we might have to take him. Again, he looks like a decently easy guy to sign between actually net good preferences and only a D3 on him. Then Frank Alley is this JUCO. He's not, it's just not very important to sign JUCOs in your first recruiting session too out of D2 school because, the reality is they're only going to be around for 2 years and you're going to be pretty bad in those 2 years. Like, I guess a lot of people would say, oh, it's nice to balance classes, right? But you can just take, 2-3 walk-ons a year and balance your classes that way and get way more resources. If you take a JUCO, you're not going to get resources their junior year. So, think of that as, are Alley's skills worth losing a year of resources? And I would say no, he's not that good. The next up is Nye, and the issue with Nye is just Quincy on him and Montevello. I just don't think we're getting Nye. We're not going to invest in him too heavily. Unfortunately, he's one of the better guys here. More important is Gamble. Gamble's interesting because there's a D1 school on him. I mean, I have no idea what this coach is thinking if he was seriously considering taking him, right? Because the 17 work ethic is at his caps. I guess he's going to be a pretty good big actually for D2, but man, D1 taking that guy is tough. You have to be in a tough situation as a program. I'm not sure why D3s aren't more active here. I'm still undecided whether I even want to come in and take this guy. Some D3 should probably sign him in the end, but maybe he could be a productive player. With the start, he might just develop a bit slowly. Another scouting find is Tommy Pendarvis, who, if you look at his ratings, is kind of a 3. Pendarvis isn't very fast. He's not extremely athletic, but he is 45 rebounding. He's primarily a shooter, but he is low ball handling as well. So you have this weird thing where you kind of have high perimeter passing, defense, and rebounding ratings for a guard. The issue with the high perimeter rating is he doesn't have very high ball handling. He doesn't have very high speed, which is what you're looking for in your perimeter shooters. So when you come over here and see that, you can land him, it's just D3s on him, and you have good preferences. Like, of course you need to keep him on your list, but he's not a top option of mine, but, I wouldn't be too sad if I end up signing him. And then I think that's the last guy. That's all 10. Tomorrow morning, I'll definitely be doing some looking for transfers and other players coaches cut, but, you don't expect to find too much in that because unless you're finding players like D1 teams in pretty good situations cut, you don't need to take them. Remember, you can always take 3 walk-ons and 2 one-year transfers. I'm just trying to avoid signing, guys who will be stuck on my bench in a few years. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'm excited to get this started. Hopefully we can net, maybe 3 of these better guys. I think Hessen's probably the best guy here. Like a Hessen-Henry Parrish class would just be unbelievable. And then maybe I'd sign a couple pretty poor quality JUCOs or something to balance out classes, combined with, 3 walk-ons and 2 one-year transfers. Something like that is the best case scenario. I guess I haven't gotten into why Hessen is so good. He's going to be incredibly athletic. He's going to have the rebounding to be able to play him at the 3, where that athleticism is more important. And I'm not even as interested in the green perimeter as I am in the green low post. If you have a guy who's, 96 athleticism, 68 speed, 52 ball handling, those stats lend themselves far more towards low post scorers than perimeter scorers. And, getting that 32 perimeter up with such a low work ethic could be a bit of a pain. It'd be cool if it got to 100 or something, but man, would I kill for, 50 low posts or something on a guy with athleticism this good. He'll start at the 3 and score 15 or 20 points per game. Last thing for sets, I haven't decided yet. I don't have to decide until I, recruit these guys, and maybe that'll play a little in my decision. But for now, I'm kind of leaning towards motion man. Probably the best sets for D2 are flex press or motion press, but, man is really viable, and I think how I'm going to be building this team, I'm trying to get pretty high talent guys for the most part, especially if I'm landing a lot of these low stamina, low work ethic guys, projected D1 guys, and taking walk-ons during my rebuilding process. I think I'm going to like the motion man and kind of the 9-guy rotation for now. Again, you want to push that to maybe 10 or even 11 later. Yeah, that's kind of the plan. So yeah, thank you all for watching and have a very nice day.